Hey Crypto Peeps, hope you're doing well. Today I want to share a new video view, and it was recorded last night with a long-time member and supporter of crypto viewing, a guy named Scott, or if you're a member on one of our websites, his name is called Sphinx. So give him a shout out if you see him there. Now, Scott is an avid investor of his time, money, and energy into the growing topic called the metaverse. And we had a fantastic discussion about the metaverse and what this is, where we feel it's going, and how it may look when it eventually gets there. Scott also showed me around the popular metaverse Decentraland. He showed me his land holdings there. He introduced me into how it works and what I would find there and what we would see in the metaverse. It's an amazing space, really interesting. So, if the term metaverse confounds you in any way at all, this will be an interesting introduction to this future crypto and blockchain space. Now, I will add Scott's details to the comments below this so you can shout out and give him a contact if you want to know more about Decentraland and the Metaverse because he's spent a lot of time there. He knows what he's talking about a lot more than I do. It's fantastic, and we both agree that it's an interesting space that's growing really fast and it's very exciting and it's full of limitless possibilities for the future. So, check out the video below. Let me know in the comments what you think of it. Take care, have a great week. Bye.
Daz, how are you?
Hi there, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks.
Excellent.
Yeah, so this is great. Thanks so much for hopping on and chatting with me. I wasn't sure what to expect, like what we were going to go through. If you wanted to chat about things before we started something for the public, or just get to know generally what somebody that's been playing in the metaverse for like a year now thinks about the whole thing.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I'm happy just to kind of shoot the breeze. I'm recording it at the moment, and I thought we could both have a copy of it. And if you want to put it online. I'll probably put it on. Give it to the crypto viewing guys. I'm sure the subs there be interested in hearing what you got to say and stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've met Ed at HQ virtually before,
Right. Excellent.
probably like over a year ago now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, just a bit of background about myself. I got into cryptos through remote viewing.
Ah,
So
excellent.
um, yeah, basically followed crypto viewing. I think from pretty close to the beginning. I think the first piece of content that I was interested in through crypto viewing was the Hellier Goblins.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a fun one.
And that's why I subscribed to the Patreon. When that launched, I subscribed because I had seen the documentary and I just wanted to learn more
Yeah.
through the remote viewing sessions. And then I was not interested in crypto, even though I've kind of been playing in the digital space a long time, been
Yes.
involved with digital currencies a lot, like as early as 2009,
Wow.
but just
Wow.
not Bitcoin. And
Okay.
honestly,
Yeah.
if you asked me about Bitcoin prior to 2019, probably my like gut response was it's a scam, or it's just another digital currency.
Yeah.
And I hadn't taken the time to do the research about what it is, peer-to-peer transactions,
Yeah.
permissionless, unconfiscatable, all of these aspects of Bitcoin. Nobody had explained it to me, and I hadn't done my due diligence. And that was kind of my knee-jerk reaction to the whole thing. Saw the bubble pop in 2017 and kind of thought that was it. But
Yes. Yeah.
crypto viewing led me down the path of looking back into it. And then I think it was 2019 when I bought my first Bitcoin, ETH, and Litecoin.
Excellent.
And
Yeah.
then um, I March of 2020, like really my vision of everything kind of changed. I think just some of the information that I was getting through crypto viewing, I was really sold on cryptos at that time. And I basically like was doing everything I could to accumulate Bitcoin and Ethereum
Yes.
from March of 2020 until into 2021 and even till now. And that's kind of what's led me down the path of ending up in this space. So, it was thanks to you guys that I ended up doing this.
That sounds
Yeah.
great. So, just as some background questions and stuff, has the facility of us using remote viewing for cryptos, has that helped you make your decisions at all and anything?
Um, yeah, I mean, I watch every crypto session that you guys do.
Excellent. Yeah.
And sometimes I agree with the sentiment, other times I disagree with the sentiment, and I know other times there's disagreements amongst the viewers of what the sentiment is.
Absolutely,
So it's
yes.
really interesting, and I know that it's a complicated and convoluted type of remote viewing to be doing
Yes.
anything financial.
It's very experimental. Yes.
And so I would say more than like the actual viewings themselves, having me make my decisions, has been the overall education and looking into all of this through remote
Excellent.
viewing that
Okay.
has
Yeah.
sold me on the path. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't say that I purchased any actually, Theta is the one coin that I purchased off the remote viewing sessions.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And I did really well at one point, and I mean I'm still quite a bit up from when I bought, but like not like I was at one point. And
Yeah.
I've been a true hodler throughout everything pretty much. I'm
Yeah.
pretty
Me
much sold
too.
on the
Yeah.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a hodler today. Although I would like to over the next year or so spend a bit of my whatever wealth I've got to be a bit more speculative. Now that I've managed to, because my goal, because I don't have a lot of disposable income. So I've managed over 3 years now to accumulate at least one Bitcoin. So I'm happy now. I got that to one side as my savings kind of thing. So now I'm trying to accumulate another and more ETH just to be a bit more speculative, not day trading, but I want to sell it on the highs, wait with the money that I save, and then buy it again on the lows, and hope that I'll be able to increase the accumulation of bitcoins and Ethereum just by doing that alone.
Yeah, I think that's a good play. I mean, um, I personally think that Ethereum is going to be around for the long run. I know that some of the data, and there's some other people in the industry that might not think that Ethereum has long-lasting legs, just with the struggles of moving to ETH 2.0
Yeah.
and kind of evolving something while it's already running rather than building it to scale. I think ETH is still restricted to 20 or so transactions a second.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
was involved with that. Maybe you haven't heard of it, but some people I'm sure have the Other Side Deeds sale for the Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Okay. Yeah.
That really exposed Ethereum. It exposed Ethereum's issues with
Yep.
scaling because there was thousands of people waiting with tens of thousands of dollars in ApeCoin, which is not worth much to date, but it was on the date of the Other Deed sale, which was a couple months ago now.
Yes.
And you were needing to pay 2 Ethereum plus in transaction fees just to mint at the time of the sale. And it ran for hours and hours. Any Ethereum transactions were 2 plus Ethereum.
Yeah. Wow.
So that really exposed its flaws there, and I think since
Yes.
then, Bored Ape has announced that they'll probably be moving to Immutable X or potentially even their own blockchain. So
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting stuff. That's the most recent kind of metaverse buzz that's gone on for that other side. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if you've seen any of the previews or looked into that at all, but
I'm learning that side of it myself, to be honest. And I guess if we're talking about the metaverse, we should start from the beginning with it, really, and where what we think it is and where it's going. But let me tell you a bit about my background before I got into cryptos, really, because I think what persuaded me before I even get into cryptos, because I've been doing RV for years, so that's been on the background for me anyway. But I've also been an avid gamer all my life, and I've known from playing online games like Counter Strike and Call of Duty, and more recently PUBG, that PUBG Battlegrounds, that I know that in-game items and fashion accessories and gun skins and all this kind of stuff, which I've been buying for years, I've seen the huge markets from all those online. So for me, buying digital or virtual goods has been around for at least over a decade. So I was convinced in that before I even heard of cryptos, and now the expansion of all this into the metaverse that people were talking about. So that's my small background in it, is coming from a gamer and seeing that there's a huge market worth hundreds of millions there, and if it's that much in the gaming market, I can see that for the normal person, as we all move into the metaverse in its different forms, how that's going to be. We're all going to want to personalize our avatars and wear Nike sneakers on our characters and all kinds of stuff like that.
hmm Yeah, definitely. Me too. I'm definitely a big gamer. I have been my whole life.
Excellent.
I've spent months of my life, like actual months, in World of Warcraft.
Right.
That was probably the game that really sold it for me. I was 12 years old when it came out,
Yep.
and I participated in the beta for it.
Wow.
So I was like really involved with that at a young age. And, people were selling items in the game back then,
Yep.
and their gold in the game was virtual currency and had value in itself, even though I think Blizzard's terms and conditions prevented people from doing that, but that didn't stop anybody for the most part. They'd find a way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Prior to that, like the Diablo series was massive
Yes.
for me. So a lot of
I remember
Blizzard
that one
games.
as well. Yep.
And yeah.
For me, it's more the first person perspective shooter ones, but they're all very similar. My son played World of Warcraft quite considerably. He's a bit of a gaming addict now, and the weird thing is, my grandson is also a gaming addict now, and he's 8 years old, and literally anytime we give him a present as family members, it's cards that he can redeem for in Roblox for character items. So his ecosphere is Roblox and Minecraft, and he's now moving on to Fortnite again. So we're having to buy all these virtual items for him for his birthdays and Christmas in all these games. So I got 3 generations of people doing this in my family now. So it's almost like it feels like that a natural evolution to me, and I guess it does to you too as well.
For sure, yeah, it does. The really, like, the way I look at it though is what makes something metaverse, and this is up for debate, and it's all kind of personal interpretation of what a lot of people say metaverse is. I think it was first coined in a book quite some years ago, actually, but now it's kind of, to me, it means that um, it's on the blockchain. So true digital ownership of items, you're able to take possession. Nobody can take it away from you. Like in World of Warcraft or Diablo or Counter-Strike or PUBG or any of these games, they have a centralized database that the company that made the game, they run it. They can stop you from moving anything, selling anything. They can wipe your account whenever they feel like it. And that can't happen when you have NFTs as items. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
that's the main difference to me for the
Yes.
metaverse. That's what I consider metaverse. If you're logging in with an Ethereum address and you can take true ownership of the items virtually, rather than just relying on a third party company to do that. And
Yeah.
if you weren't aware, actually Vitalik created Ethereum because of pains in World of Warcraft that he had.
Right. I didn't know
He
that.
attributes the creation of Ethereum to, I think, an item that was nerfed on his World of Warcraft account. Nerf means, like, for anybody that doesn't know, it means like they made it a lot worse, and that was a trigger for him to think. He learned about Bitcoin, and that's how Ethereum evolved. That's how he attributes it, anyways. So
That's excellent. But in the initial communications we had through the website for not well the website back channel forum, you mentioned that you've been transitioning your is it your entire work life now into the metaverse?
well, yeah, for me, I've always kind of wanted to be a game developer. Growing up, I played just as a hobby in developing games. From probably the earliest one I can think of is the Warcraft 3 world editor, where you could create your own game inside the game.
Yeah.
And some people might say, "Oh, that's not true development," but the game Dota 2, which is one of the biggest esports now,
Yeah.
which I've been involved in as well, that was created in Warcraft 3 originally. And that whole concept of MOBAs came from World Editor in StarCraft. So MOBA is a multiplayer online battle arena. So it's essentially the basis for a lot of the esports like League of Legends, Dota
Yeah.
2, and there's some other popular ones. But for me, I always wanted to do that when I was young, but I never did. And just kind of through family relationships and what I fell into, I ended up in the insurance industry after I graduated from university. And I did that for close to 10 years,
Yeah.
from the time I was 22 until, so in May of 2021, just about a year ago, I actually sold my insurance business, which was an online insurance business here in Canada. That's where I'm located.
Yep.
And from that time, I've kind of just been like, what am I going to do next? Insurance was never my passion or something that I really wanted to do. I kind of just fell into it. And, the most interesting thing for me and following my passion is in the gaming space. And I was already so into blockchain and crypto and dabbled a little bit in the metaverse games, but it's just grown on me over the past year that I've just been like completely sold on it. So now, I've bought up land in Decentraland, Sandbox, Other Side, big time. I own space, and just playing with the NFTs, I started developing more and more utilizing the Decentraland SDK, which is the development kit that allows you to create whatever you'd like on the land that you own. And that's what I've been doing with most of my time these days. So
excellent.
It's been a great road. I'm really enjoying it. And how it's going to be monetized and what it's going to turn into, I'm not entirely certain. The Decentraland metaverse is the one that I would consider the top player because, one, it's run by the DAO. Two, it's very customizable from the perspective of the land that you own. You can do pretty much anything that you could imagine that you could do with it. Not a lot of people have done that yet, unfortunately. There's a huge barrier to entry. It's not like Roblox where anybody can just pick it up and create in that, if you want to call it a metaverse. I don't necessarily, that virtual world. I think Roblox has 200 million monthly users. And Decentraland has less than 500,000. And these days with the crypto market, the way it is, it's probably half that.
But Roblox isn't a true kind of metaverse type thing, is it? But I think it's a stepping stone to where we're going with the metaverses. And it does go to show, if they do get it right and the usability is right, that it could achieve the same amount of numbers for these future metaverse projects.
Yeah, I hope so. The remote viewing sessions through the crypto viewing private site there didn't give me the most confidence in Decentraland's future. Specifically something you said, to be honest, about, in 2024, it was like the feeling was who is left. And it kind of feels like that right now, to be honest, in terms of on the development side. Although there is a lot going on, it's just a really tight, small community that's developing in Decentraland. Like if something's going on, I probably know about it. There's probably not something happening that I don't know about. We all pay attention to each other. It's a big Twitter like back and forth all the time between everybody in Decentraland and chatting about how we're going to do this, how we're going to make it better, how we're going to bring in new users. And one of the discussions that we've had recently with one of the advertising businesses that started up in Decentraland, think of them like Google Ads, but in the metaverse. So you can pull ad billboards, and they're dynamic ad billboards that you can place on your land. And as the landholder or the experience creator, you're compensated by impressions on the ads in your land. And Versadex, that's the company that is running these ads and makes it available to the creators. They find advertisers to slot in who's willing to pay them for running their ads there. So and they've had conversations recently. I think we should go to Roblox. I think we should move to Roblox. And then there's been conversations springing up about maybe we can onboard people into Decentraland from Roblox. Although the age bracket for players is quite a bit different. Like the amount of expertise that it takes to set up an Ethereum wallet, get MetaMask, log into Decentraland, and understand all that. I don't know if your average 12 to 14-year-old who's playing Roblox is going to be able to do that. So
I think that's when. But the barrier in how complicated the whole thing is. It's not just a barrier. I think for metaverses, it's a barrier to all cryptos at the moment. It's just super hard. And I even class myself in this, and I've spent pretty much the last 30 years, 12 to 18 hours a day online, building websites, usability systems, usability interfaces, and interactive CD-ROMs. I built it all at one point or another, and I still find it extremely hard at times, and trying to find my way around even just purchasing a crypto with normal pounds from my bank. It's just so hard to do. So until we get the usability almost like, I keep going back to Amazon, with their one-click purchase process, or even Roblox, because Roblox is pretty simple. Until it's like that, we are going to see huge amounts of problems in every part of crypto, I think, including the metaverses.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, for me, next steps right now when I'm looking at development, and I've ran quite a few events, quests,
I saw that you
experiences.
sent me a video of one of your online events. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was just a recent one that we did for an NFT play and earn game called
Yeah.
Rovi.
Yeah.
And it's basically similar concept to Pokemon, where you have these little creatures, but they're actually robots, and you can battle them, upgrade them,
Yeah.
go out in the world, and it's all primarily built into Decentraland. So, anyways, I worked with them to develop an event
Yeah.
where in Decentraland somebody had stolen some parts from one of their delivery caravans, and all the players had to go recover it. So we did
Excellent.
have thousands of users participate in that over the
Yeah.
past month. But it's not like the numbers that are on Roblox. Like thousands isn't enough, especially when
Sure.
the
Yeah.
monetization for creators is through advertisements. Like
Yes.
it's just not there necessarily. So
Yeah. Yeah. But
uh,
but it is a great start, though, isn't it? Because we are talking about technologies in their infancy, really, aren't we?
yeah, absolutely. I'm very bullish and absolutely foresee a future
Yeah.
in metaverse and what this is with true digital asset ownership. I think absolutely that's the direction that we're going without question. I'm just not certain that the models that are springing up right now are going to be the winners. And I
Yes.
want them to be, because I've sunk quite a lot of investment into Decentraland Sandbox specifically.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm working hard to do what I can to make that the future. And
Yeah.
it's what I enjoy while I'm doing it too. It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, it's such a struggle or anything. Like I love doing it. So
Absolutely. But I guess we might be getting bit ahead of ourselves here, because if we're going to put this out as a video, it'd be nice for people to also understand. How can we describe to them what a metaverse is for the person that doesn't play games?
hmm um, I think I would start at again, first stating that my description of a metaverse may not be what everybody perceives as a metaverse,
Yeah.
but I'm going to say it's a virtual world where you have spatial awareness and you can see and interact with other people online. Um, and then it needs to integrate blockchain and
Yeah.
digital asset ownership. So that's what a metaverse is to me, and um, I hope that anybody that's never really hopped into a game like World of Warcraft is a really good example of an open world sort of metaverse style
Yes.
centralized game. Um, but showing somebody can be helpful too. So I don't know if you feel like now would be a good time, or maybe we can clip it in later to have some examples of what it looks like to jump into the metaverse for the first time. And to be honest, with Decentraland, you just need a web browser.
Yeah, we can. I mean, do you want to show us and do that and go put share screen or something? That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, sure.
Because I've seen Decentraland, but I haven't actually been in it or signed up for anything or played with it. I've just been I got to be honest. At this point, I've just been doing lots of research on two of them. Really, I've been doing the research on Decentraland and also Sandbox. I know like Snoop Dogg and quite a lot of people are really jumping on the Sandbox bandwagon, and it's getting a lot of A-list media people. But there again, I'm hearing really good stuff about Decentraland, which is slightly different from Sandbox. So I'm a novice in this. Other than I know that this is the future, I just don't know how it is going to be and how it's going to integrate into the future. But I know it's coming, and we also know that Zuckerberg's bought into this because he's developing some kind of metaverse, and he's spent billions on it so far on development.
100%. I have an Oculus Quest, probably like most people.
My son's got one. I've played on it. It is fantastic. It's mind blowing. The moment I put it on, I didn't. I existed there in this virtual world. It was so freaky. Yeah.
Yeah, probably like a lot of people, and just with the history of Facebook, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Well, just Mark Zuckerberg's work history, I guess, like in
Yes.
terms of
Yeah.
transparency and the way that he treats people's data, or
Absolutely.
just
Yeah.
the institution that he's running there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm concerned about Meta and the direction that they're going to go. I feel like they might be more successful in hardware, so creating headsets, gloves, bodysuits, or whatever type of things that you might see in Ready
Yeah.
Player One. I don't know if that's the direction exactly that we're going,
Yeah.
but I feel like that might be a more successful model for Meta than trying to create the world itself. But yeah, well, we can see how it goes. I'm still open to seeing what they're creating and how
Yeah,
they'll
me too.
integrate those types of things.
I mean, I guess the a good source for people to kind of get an idea of this is the movie and the book Ready Player One. And I read the book before I saw the movie, and the book is just mind blowingly fantastic, especially if you're an 80s 90s person like myself, because the references. But
Yeah, the references are awesome, and
yeah.
Ready Player Two is a great book as well.
Yeah, I've read that one as well. Although it got a bit stuck on. I can't remember what it was, Back to the Future or something, and it was a bit there in the school bit of it, and it spent a bit too long on that bit for me. But yeah, still a good book. But do you? One thing that slightly worries me. I don't get me wrong. I love the idea of having the gloves, the bodysuit for the touches, and all this kind of sensations, and the 3D experience where you can look around and stuff. I'm just not sure in my own head if that's going to be practical use for huge amounts of population. Not within the next 10 or 20 years of my lifetime of looking at this, I don't think, anyway.
Yeah, I'm not certain of that either. I look into and research quite a lot of the hardware that gets developed, and people are pursuing spending tons of money and time on trying to develop these different virtual reality suits or gloves or whatever they are. I don't know if that's the direction of things. I mean, you have Elon Musk and Neuralink on the other side trying to put us in the matrix, basically. Is that the direction that it goes instead? Like, I really don't know. I mean, I'm not willing to get the chip implanted, but I'm sure some people will.
Me neither. No. But I do like the personally, I like the like almost. I have to go back to Roblox, the Roblox type interface where you can do it all within an app or a web browser, and you can do it on your phone or your tablet or your computer, and then you can walk around in. It's not so much. It's not so virtual. It's not so interactive. But I do like that kind of version of it as a stepping stone right now, because it just seems a bit more accessible, I think, for the normal person out there at the moment, rather than having to being at work in your break and having to strap on a head device and looking a little bit silly, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen also Mark Zuckerberg chat about how he expects a large amount of work to be done with the headsets on, because it improves interactions between people when they have large distances amongst each other, but they can still kind of shake each other's hands and chat with each other across a table, and potentially even see how their faces are looking with some of the cameras on the headsets. I've seen a few of the examples. It's kind of freaky. Like, it really looks like they're capturing everything from winks to mouth movements, and that's not going to be there for a while, but we'll see.
I mean, some of the applications for the one you mentioned, the one that I played with my son's 3D set, there was a painting program on it. I think it was a graffiti one, and as a creative person, that was just mind-bendingly fantastic. Be able to pick up spray cans and paint on virtual walls these huge, big. Well, it felt like a big, 50-foot mural that I was painting, but literally I was in my living room, within a 5-foot space. So I can see for, even business meetings, for creative solutions, all that kind of stuff would be good. It's just, I'm just not too sure on the hardware and how they'd fit it in. If it was like a pair of sunglasses you could put on, but the big helmets and stuff. I don't know right now. I know it's the future, and I don't know how far down the line it is, or how integrated it's going to be with the technical gadgets at this stage. But it's definitely the future.
Definitely, and me, even as a lifetime gamer and used to all this stuff and been in VR quite a bit, I really struggle with motion sickness. Like, I can't play the Oculus Quest for very long at all.
Half an hour I can do. That's it.
But especially depending on what's happening. Like, if you have something moving in the game, but then you're not moving, or something's like rotating and you're not rotating, something to do with the fluids in your ears, or I'm sure there's various reasons why it's just not jiving with most people, but I get motion sickness too easily. So
Yeah, and I have it. I get motion sickness after about 20 minutes, but I have it doubly worse in that everything I do I have to wear glasses for as well. And wearing glasses with one of those VR headsets on is quite hard at this stage.
yeah.
Yeah, but you know, if we can get some kind of really amazing system to work on my my double screen PC setup, with like my 6 foot real estate here, that would be happy enough for me.
Hmm.
Because I play games. Well, we both discussed we play games. When I get really hardcore into a game, I'm there in the game anyway.
Yeah.
I don't exist outside of the game.
Yeah,
so-
the character is an extension of you, and you just like don't even think, when you get to a certain point, you don't even think about, oh, if you need to move this way, that I need to move my right finger to do this, or whatever it might be. It's just like you're in it. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I wonder what the different interfaces that will end up being most prevalent for this type of thing will be.
I know that and I guess that's what we're going. It's like all the crypto stuff, isn't it? And even more so with what you're interested in, the metaverse is. I think that when we're interested in the crypto stuff, we're still ahead of the wave by a huge amount of years. But I think with even looking at the metaverse, it's even further ahead of the wave. Not knowing where the technology is going to go, where the software is going to go, where it's going to evolve. It is literally way before the cutting edge of this technology. But that's what I also find, I guess like yourself, I find that incredibly exciting. Having this kind of intuitive feeling of knowing where it's going to go, but not knowing which one's going to take us there.
Definitely. I saw Mark Cuban. He was on the Bankless podcast yesterday, which is a popular YouTube podcast, and he just totally like scrap the whole concept of the metaverse. First, he said Web3, that terminology, that he hates it, and then he went on to say, what the F is a metaverse, and this is junk, and Second Life was the first metaverse, and people are out to lunch. I tell all of my clients never buy metaverse land, and it's the worst investment ever. I think he literally went as far as saying it's the worst investment ever. Yeah. And to be honest, Mark Cuban knows quite a bit about crypto for what people might expect. He's played in decentralized protocols like Aave and done lending and collateralized loans, and he's played in DeFi, so he knows what he's talking about to a certain extent.
Yes.
But he did also in 2019 say that he would rather have bananas than Bitcoin. So maybe he doesn't always know exactly what he's talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, no one's, to be honest, no one's an expert in this. We're all grabbing stars in the dark at this stage. But yeah, so we got off on a tangent bit. Is it possible for you to show us a bit of Decentraland? That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the share screen's on, so that'd be
Yeah, let me get ready so people can experience exactly what it would be like to jump in for the first time.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic, and it's new for me to see this as well. I've seen a few videos on it, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see it from your perspective of someone who essentially knows what they're doing with this.
Alrighty, so let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen. Got the pyramids loading up at the moment.
Yeah, perfect. So this is typically what somebody would see when they're jumping into Decentraland the first time. I did skip the step of connecting my Ethereum wallet through MetaMask. They do have a few different third-party wallet providers that you can connect. But that was the initial step. So here's where you'd end up when you come into Decentraland for the first time. And again, I'm just running this in my web browser. I'm running it in Brave browser.
Okay.
That's kind of like a crypto native web browser. If nobody's heard of it, they should definitely check it out, because you can be compensated for your browsing and the ads that you see with a token called Basic Attention Token. And I also think that that's a direction that things are going to go. So
absolutely, yeah.
Here I am in Decentraland, just in the introductory area. This is my avatar, and I'm looking like some sort of futuristic wizard with a massive sword. And all of the items that I'm wearing right now are NFTs, and they call them wearables in the game. And they've gone from being worth thousands of dollars to pennies, depending on what they are. initially they were all on Ethereum, and now the majority of them are on the Polygon network just due to transaction fees. So that's what I'm looking like. So
And you can, there. I guess there's a shop or a marketplace where you can buy these or create these.
you can buy them, create them, sell them for whatever you'd like. And there are some restrictions revolving around how many polygons can be in a certain model, the materials that you can import from a texture perspective. Just obviously being a browser native game right now, Decentraland does have a beta Windows application. So that's something that would improve the experience quite a bit, but it is good for ease of use for people to just jump in. Basically, we went to decentraland.org, connected our wallet, and clicked play now. So here it is, and we can look up here and see kind of what events are going on live right now. These are the popular events, and or you can see where most people are gathered. You can see that Decentral Games, Ice Poker, and another Ice Poker scene are the two most popular areas. Both of those are play to earn games, where you need a specific wearable to participate in those games, and I can show everybody that. But so those are the popular areas that have a large amount of users right now. But we can basically jump off the diving board here and head in for the first time. So
that's fantastic. I like the look of this. It is reminiscent to me of Roblox, if I'm honest with you, but done slightly better.
And here's a massive Doge telling us that he's redefining how we interchange value with each other. And he is jacked. So there's a Pepe Satoshi, and there's Elon holding up a Doge, and this is basically just the introductory area where people come for the first time in Decentraland. They can learn how to do different things. Is this your first time here? You can tell you're around, but we'll say no. So and yeah, you can head out into the open world, and there's lots of stuff going on. But I'll quickly just jump up to the map area here so we can get an idea of what Decentraland's looking like as a whole. There's 90,000 parcels in Decentraland.
Okay. Yep.
And those have been capped, so all of the creators and landowners expect there to no longer be any additional land created. So the only way to get land now is to buy it on the secondary market from other people.
Okay. Oh, so it's never going to be a ever expanding open world type environment with different places, or they may add other ones later, maybe down the line somewhere.
No, I think that would be that's not the vision of Decentraland. I don't think so. Okay. This is the finite area that is Decentraland. That's the entire map. That's all it will ever be. We're located right here in the Genesis Plaza. And so these green areas are owned by the Decentraland DAO. So they can develop, like the Decentraland as an entity, and me as a land and mana holder, and partially an owner of the Decentraland DAO, and participate in its governance through voting mechanisms. And your votes are weighted based on how much of the token or land that you hold. So the large land or token holders have more of a say in the direction of things.
Yep. Okay.
So, and just to reiterate, I think having these finite amount of parcels limited to 90,000 and not ever creating more, this is not going to be an area where we have something like, remember in Ready Player One, the movie, they had that big race, and it's where Parzival got his first key. And so something like that race, I don't envision ever being created in a game like Decentraland, or in a quote unquote metaverse like Decentraland. It's just not built for that. I think it's more built for social experiences, concerts, meetings, things like that. Although there are quite a few people that are creating games within Decentraland. And it's so open, in fact, that Decentral Games company that we looked at earlier that had the most visitors, they created poker in Decentraland from scratch. That wasn't something that was like input by the Decentraland DAO prior to them purchasing the land. They coded that into their land that people can play poker.
But if I can ask a question, the something like if someone did develop a game, would they need to have a parcel of land to put that game onto?
Or they would need to rent it from someone.
Right. Okay.
And
And
this
how big is a if you said there's 90,000 of them? How big is a single parcel roughly?
each one of these little squares is 16 by 16 meters.
Okay. Yep.
So not that big. And then you have a finite height limit based on how many consecutive parcels you own attached to each other.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I
And
get
it
that.
increases up to a cap at 100 meters, I believe,
Right.
in the 20s of parcels together.
And on your map here, does it indicate which ones have been sowed so far?
So everything is sold.
Everything is sowed.
Everything is sold. The only way that you can obtain land at this point is buying it off of somebody else.
Wow. Already.
A long time ago. They did that before the game even launched. All the land was sold.
Okay. Wow.
So
Okay.
that's a little bit different than on Sandbox. Sandbox is still creating new land and doing land sales through
Yes.
their company right now to this day. Although I think they have agreed on a capped amount eventually, but the Sandbox, the company, is still holding land and doing sales ever so often.
So if I just create a scenario here, so us as crypto viewing, if we decided we wanted to, I don't know, put a building within Decentraland on a plot of land and, you know, have it as like a virtual space for people to come in and talk about remote viewing and cryptos and stuff. At this point in time, we would have to buy a piece of land or rent a piece of land off one of you landowners in Decentraland to do that.
Yes, but I would be more than happy to do that for you.
That might be interesting as an experiment. Is there a standard price that it's going for at the moment, or can it just be the sky's the limit at the moment?
To be honest, for rent, you can see here, there's people see land for rent. There's lots of people asking for their land for rent. But to be honest, most of them are kind of just mutually beneficial situations where the landowners are just kind of delegating the creators land because they want to see success in the entire ecosystem.
Yes.
So I wouldn't say that there's currently a price for renting land. For purchasing, there most definitely is. The floor right now, I think for a single parcel in like an obsolete area in the middle of nowhere is probably around 3,000 to 3,500 USD
for a 16 by 16.
For a 16 by 16 parcel.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this plot that I'm on right now, which is 16 parcels total, which is called an estate. Parcels combined are called an estate. This is one that I own, and I built this just to show you here on this chat that we're having.
Excellent.
So this one, I would say in terms of value, you know, I bought all over the place. I bought land before Facebook announced they're changing their name to Meta for quite cheap relative to what it would be going for now. And then I've also bought land in the hundreds of thousands of dollar range. So I'm deep into into Decentraland and the metaverse with my investments and just my everyday life. So I just built this really quick in a program called Blender, which is the program of choice for 3D modeling on Decentraland.
Is that a Google one, a free one?
It's free. Yeah, Blender's free.
I thought so.
It's great. It's really impressive. So a year ago, I knew nothing about Blender, nothing at all. I've never done any 3D modeling. And I basically spent hundreds of hours learning 3D modeling over the past year just because I wanted to put something creative that I envisioned on my land in Decentraland. And it just kind of grew more and more. I've also done over 100 hours of training with professional 3D modelers now just to up my skills. And it's really fun. Like, I really enjoy it, like, regardless of creating in Decentraland. Like 3D modeling is great. So yeah, I quickly threw this scene down here, and I thought that maybe I know it's a little bit tough while we're just on Zoom here, but we could hop in at the same time. But it's okay. I'll run through the process what it would be like. So I made this pyramid with the beam going out the top, and I made this little wizard character here, and he was going to chat to you. Hello, Daz. I've been expecting.
That's fantastic.
Welcome to the metaverse. This is where the children of tomorrow will meet, play, and even work. It's both beautiful and terrifying at the same time. And he's got a little crystal ball here in the center.
That's fantastic. I mean, this kind of environment would be amazing for, you know, for teaching and social interaction. Very good.
Yeah, definitely. The problem is with, say, voice chat, or even making sure that people are on the same server when everything's being run in a web browser. Like scenes are capped at 100 people, and then
Yes.
they're distributed into what's called islands. So not
Right.
only are there separate servers in Decentraland, so you need to be on the same server, which you can choose which server you're on. You can go up here and you can select the different servers,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
you can see right now there's only about less than 1,000 people logged in across all servers.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's not encouraging, um, for the most part. But I think the stats are still, between 8 and 10,000 users on average per day are
Yes.
participating in
Yeah.
Decentraland. So um, you can choose which server and then which island. And yeah, you can do all sorts of things. So this area that I recently acquired here is right next to a large NFT project called um, the MetaKey. And
Right.
this is their headquarters in Decentraland.
Wow.
And they're
Really.
creating a play to earn game outside of Decentraland. It's called New Ganymede, and it's a
Okay.
hub for jumping between metaverses. That's kind of the way that they're toting it, and it looks really cool. They're doing a really good job. And you can see here, there's another structure that's like the Shark Tank. And so
Yeah.
this is the MetaKey Shark Tank. And I actually pitched my concept of cross metaverse quests in this Shark Tank in October of last year, and I won both the centralized grant from the
Yep.
MetaKey. So the MetaKey voted me to be awarded the grant, and then the community DAO through MetaKey awarded me the grant as well. So I was pretty happy about that. Um, it wasn't a lot of money, to be honest, but it was more just, a vote of confidence for my concept
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
pitching in that
Excellent.
area. So yeah, that's a really impressive build. This is probably one of the most impressive builds in Decentraland.
Yeah.
And they have a whole interior to the ship. They had an event here last week where they have a DJ playing, and everybody comes here, and there's a few hundred people, and they're all chatting, and their avatars are dancing, and um, it's interesting. Like, to me, the party scene in the metaverse isn't necessarily up my alley, but it's fun for now. Like, it's still something I
Yeah.
participate
Yeah.
in just as a part of the community.
Well,
Like, I've
it's something that interests me because I spend a lot of time online, and for example, most evenings, I meet up with a lot of remote viewers, and we end up just chatting by voice and by text on Discord. So this kind of environment for us is, taking it in a whole new level and a better level because you have a bit more customization again about your character, and it just looks a bit more fun.
Definitely, I would be absolutely happy to help you and set this all up for you and work with you to do something like that. Like, that
Uh,
sounds awesome to me. So
yeah, yeah, it looks great. I mean, I love the whole concept of all this. And as I said, we discussed. I definitely think it's the future. It's just the when
so
everyone gets
so
the usability right, it's
definitely. I
yeah.
just wanted to point out something really quickly. So you can see when I'm kind of clicking around on the map, I can instantly jump to any area on the map,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
which that may make you think, um, why is location important, and why would there be a finite amount of land? And that is definitely up for debate. And I think that whole model of forcing creators to make a large investment in order to create in a metaverse might not be successful in the long run. That might not be the answer. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it needs to be like Roblox, where everything's free and it's free for all creators. Or maybe it ends up being that this concept of allowing creators to not have a portion of their earnings stripped from them
Mm. Yeah.
all the time, no matter what they do, is the answer. So I'm in between both sides of what will actually um, turn up being
Yeah.
the way that people interact with these different metaverses, and whether this finite land as NFTs is even a viable method. I'm really not 100% sure about that, but I can buy into it and see where it can be beneficial. Because
Yes.
just for example, Roblox takes 70%, 75% of creators' earnings.
Wow, that's a huge amount, isn't it? Yeah.
In Decentraland, if you create a wearable, the Decentraland DAO gets 3%, and they reallocate that as grants back to the community to continue development.
Okay, that's
And,
brilliant.
and then if you're running something on your land, like a lottery or something like that, if you program it onto a blockchain and run it on your land, Decentraland doesn't take anything. It's all yours, whatever you can create. So that might be part of the answer, but
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And all these these are all people. And what's the what's the, you know, if you did decide you wanted to have a conversation with someone, can you have a voice chat? Is it text?
You can have voice chat, but it's quite buggy, to be honest.
Okay, yes. Still.
And they're still working on, you know, the 3D aspects of sound, but you can see down here, everybody's chatting in this channel, and that's nearby. So everybody hanging out in this area can chat with each other, and they can see each other. So this area is called Wonder Zone, and the area within Wonder Zone, this entire blue area, which is, I think it's a DAO within itself, on Wonder Zone, and they own that blue area. And this specific area is called Wonder Mine, and it's quite a popular area in Decentraland. And I really wanted to bring this up with you because I think it was maybe on the executive remote viewing overview with Courtney Wheaton. Her friend John, that was temporarily doing a session, he literally drew people coming and mining just like this. He drew this exactly, and when I saw that, it blew me away. It was the bit like from the Decentraland settings. That and the trees that John drew specifically were the biggest hits from my perspective, participating in it all the time. When he said manual labor and mining and drew the pickaxe, this is one of the most popular areas in Decentraland, and it has been for a long time. So
excellent. Yeah, that's good feedback.
I was impressed with that. But basically here, this game is like an idle mining game where you can upgrade your pickaxe, get different wearables that get you to mine, basically in a more like getting, you know, better materials and things like that. And then you can use the materials that you're obtaining to mint NFTs that further like increase the amount of mining materials that you can get. So it's a bit of a closed loop, but a lot of it basically is, you know, it's just like a fun concept to initiate people's idea of what could happen. Like you can mint these different wearables. A lot of them are just out of stock right now, and ever so often this Wonder Zone entity will restock with new wearables that do different things, gives a mining bonus, so you can be more efficient with your mining depending on what NFTs that you're wearing. So that's another interesting part of Decentraland. I'll just hop maybe one more place just to show you and give people
it's fantastic. It's great having a good overview of this.
So let's see, or here, let's go to the Explore tab so we can see places where there's a lot of people right now. So we can see this is the top one, 361 people at the Ice Poker Stronghold. And like I mentioned before, you actually need a specific wearable to come and participate in playing poker here. So it's going to take a minute to load, just again, running in a web browser here. But you've got the little Pepe dealers here. And once everybody loads up, you can see there will be avatars gathered around the different tables, and they're playing poker with each other. And, you know, you'll see when somebody wins a hand, everybody's clapping, or they're doing emotes or dancing and cheering. It's really, really interesting. So I can come here and check in and log into my account to play. But since I don't have the wearable, this specific area is just, I can only be an observer here. But there are actually other casino type areas in Decentraland. Atari has a casino that for the most part hasn't been that successful, but after their launch, they kind of just left it, which was in February of 2021, I believe. They didn't do much with it, so that hasn't been successful. But you can go and play, you know, toss your money away, play in roulette or blackjack with cryptos. And so I think that this, you know,
that could be quite addictive, couldn't it?
It could be addictive for sure, but I mean, I feel like, you know, anybody, you can access virtual casinos anywhere. The difference here is that you have that concept of spatial awareness, essentially.
That's what
So
I'm. That's what I'm getting, and that's what I'm. That's personally for me as a person. That's what I like.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah, I like that.
So I might have been booted. See, one of the realms was full here, so
Yes.
I was booted to a different one. So let's see if we can head to DG, which is the most populated realm, because all of the players were clearly in a different realm.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like a lot of what we see here in terms of I have a pretty hefty computer. It is a little bit old now, but in terms of graphics card and all that sort of thing, it's fairly high quality. So even that, just running in a web browser, I'm struggling a little bit here. So
Yeah, and we're running Zoom at the same time as well. So yeah,
yeah, for sure.
yeah,
So as you can see in this area, we're not having luck catching up with the avatars, and it's possible like things change in these scenes all the time. It's possible that maybe I'm not able to even see the other characters unless I have the specific wearable that they want, or maybe it's just again taking a while to load up
got
for
you.
us here.
Yeah, yeah,
So you can see here they're playing music videos in the background, and
yeah, it's fantastic.
I have the sound off for now, but
Yeah,
yeah. So this is this is pretty much I hope that gives people a good overview of what
yeah, I would
to
say so.
expect and what
Yeah,
they can
I
see
mean,
in the
just from
metaverse.
me having a good look at it with you here, I can see the potential for well, especially for brands and corporations and advertising, promotions, games. I mean, the whole cadre of things you can get in here, and yeah, the 3D virtual kind of space social interaction thing. I think that's where it's going to really take off. So it's almost going to be like Facebook, but in 3D, isn't it? I guess that's what Meta and Zuckerberg are banking on, because no one really knows what they're doing as yet with where it's going. I know they've spent a few billion, um, but I'm guessing it's going to be this is going to be like your Facebook with your Facebook ads and your different groups and all that kind of stuff, but in a 3D environment.
Yeah, for sure. And you can see here the avatars have loaded up here now. So
Yeah,
you can see everybody's gathered around the different tables and they're playing poker. And you'll see intermittently like these guys are clapping over here. Obviously, somebody just won an important hand. And some of the avatars are really impressive. Like look at this one. They've got sort of like an anime character skin going on.
yeah.
And anything that you can dream of, you can create and import here. So recently, I
Okay.
actually had created like a big jacked Pepe, like Pepe the Frog, the meme that
Yeah.
everybody in the gaming space knows about. I had created, like a 6'2", big 8-pack, like big shoulders Pepe. And believe it or not, the DAO communicated with me when I went to have it implemented into the game that I need to prove intellectual property rights. And I guess Pepe specifically has been copyrighted by its
Right.
creator
Yeah.
named Matt Fury from a comic book in the early 2000s. And I actually didn't know that. I should have looked into it more before I was pursuing creating the avatar. But
Yeah.
so there are still rules. It's not a free for all
Yes.
in
Yeah.
Decentraland. And that is the person that's reviewing all that and that let me know I can't do that. They're employed through the DAO. So we,
Yeah.
as the owners, are employing that person to review everything and ensure that we're not infringing on any copyright laws and that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah. Looks
But
fantastic. And in the background there, it looks like I can see. Is that not Visa logos or something? Is it
yeah,
Mastercard?
it's MasterCard. And there was MasterCard Pride Plaza. So I
Ah,
guess for
right. Yeah.
Pride Month in Decentraland, they were having some events going on and it was sponsored
Okay.
by
Yeah.
MasterCard. There's some big names in Decentraland already, like Samsung's got an area, JP Morgan's
Yeah.
got an area,
Okay. So it's
MasterCard now. You can see
yeah.
Samsung is one of
It is starting. Then you are seeing some of the bigger brands knowing that this in some format or another is the future.
yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think a lot of the time they're just I'm not sure how the decisions are being made. Like I know HSBC has also bought quite a large amount of land in Sandbox,
Yeah.
and how they're making their decisions, I'm really not sure. So here I just jumped into the MasterCard scene here. So hey
Yeah.
there, welcome to the MasterCard Pride Plaza. They're basically probably telling me that I need to, abide by their rules and be inclusive and not saying anything rude. So, yeah, as this area loads up, this is something new. I haven't seen this yet, but yeah, there's always a lot going on. It's just like running in the web browser and it being such new technology, and then immediately integrating with a blockchain.
Yeah.
Things are always a little bit buggy, to be honest. So like
Absolutely,
you can see here,
yeah.
I'm having a tough time even utilizing some of the UI, and
Yeah. But that's understandable. I mean, we both played games as we discussed in the early versions. In the very early version I was playing of Counter Strike, 20 years ago, it was buggy as hell, and a few years later, it was an absolutely fantastic piece of software. So it's how things start out. You just, the early adopters, don't mind that. And, we are actually at some stage or another become helpers in, calling out the bugs and helping them fix them to some degree as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely something that people are, trying to help with all the time. So
Yeah.
unless you want to see something else here, I'll stop the screen share.
No, that's
for
great.
the
I think
central-
that's going to be a great overview for, anyone we show these videos to. And thanks for doing that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, no problem. So, and yeah, just to reiterate again, I'd be happy to chat with you more about whatever visions you have for even like running remote viewing group in Decentraland for the weekly meetings, or however you wanted to do
Yeah, I'll
it.
have to think about that. It might be interesting. It might be a fun, creative experiment to do because I like doing creative stuff anyway. And I love the idea of the 3D-ness about it. As I said, every night I'm meeting 10, 20 people online and we're having chats on Discord. It would be just so much more. And you got a little picture as your avatar, and it doesn't animate or anything. And we chuck up loads of gifs and have laughs and listen to a bit of music and talk about RV stuff. But it'd be so much more immersive if you were in a room and you could see 3D characters that reflect their personality and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
I
definitely.
truly believe it's the future. But again, like yourself, it's like which one is the future? Where's it going to go? How's it going to look? Who's going to build it? But it's fantastic to see what's developing so far.
And Decentraland, from my perspective, just with it being a truly open metaverse, from a perspective of if I want to change something about how the entire ecosystem is run, I can propose that to the DAO and have everybody as a community vote on it through the blockchain, depending on who's owning what mana and land. And I mean, that can get a little bit tribal, and there definitely are cliques within the Decentraland ecosystem, and I'm sure across all metaverses, but especially when it's DAO run, that is an experiment. If that will work or not in the long run, I'm not certain. But then you have games like Sandbox, where Sandbox makes all the decisions for everybody.
Right. Yeah.
And that has its benefits and it has its downfalls.
Yes.
But Sandbox, I feel, is a little bit more game focused. Like a good example would be with the restrictions in Sandbox from a creator perspective and a development perspective, you couldn't make poker. You can't make poker and implement that in Sandbox.
Right,
That's something that through the customization in the SDK in Decentraland is possible, but in Sandbox they have a game maker that limits you to what is actually possible. But it also makes it easier for creators to make experiences without a lot of coding knowledge.
Yes. Interesting. And do you foresee a time that maybe there will be, I don't know, 10, 20, as many multiverses as there are cryptos, and you'll be able to move between them all?
I do think that that's the direction that we're going to go. And you can see it now with this project called New Ganymede that the MetaKey is running. They want that to be a centralized hub for all of the MetaKey owners you don't have to have that NFT to participate, but that's kind of the way that they're creating it. And there will be portals in that central hub to jump into Sandbox where they own land, jump into Decentraland where they own land, or any of the other metaverses that spring up that are getting some eyes. And I think that eventually, depending on what type of technology we're using, whether it's still just keyboard and mouse and regular screens, or whether we go some other method, I think you'll seamlessly be able to jump across the different metaverses depending on what you are wanting to do, whether it's do a racing game, have a big concert, or all sorts of things.
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
really hopeful for that other side metaverse as well. They say they're going to be releasing an SDK, and Yuga Labs is the company that's developing that, and they own the IP for the Bored Ape Yacht Club now,
Yeah.
and quite a few other NFT projects. And I think that platform has a bright future for it. So we'll see.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, it's blown me away actually seeing it in the flesh. You know, I've seen videos of it and read descriptions of it. But you know, I'm a huge fan. I see so much potential. I mean, I guess they're you know, just the jobs alone. I can see that there will be so much of a job infrastructure in people being hired to create structures, to create games, to create clothes looks. You know, I can see people being hired to be your virtual kind of stylist for
Yeah,
your
and that you
character.
in Decentraland, there's already famous creators that are very popular and sought after in the community, and their wearables are worth more than others, and they have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
representation. I'll share this with you because it's kind of funny. Forever 21 recently got land in Decentraland and had during Fashion Week, Metaverse Fashion Week, which I think was in March now, maybe in April. And they launched a line in Decentraland, and the prices were just disgusting, and everybody hated it, to be honest. And I
yeah.
don't think they were successful or sold much.
Mhm.
And then you have other creators that are just like crypto natives and know nothing about style in the traditional sense potentially, and they hopped into the metaverse and now they're king.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. It seems to be wide open. But yeah, the scope. You know, if people really get into this and really want it, I see the scope of it being huge because you know there's always going to be the person that doesn't want to create, but you know would like to just go to a shop or go to someone and say, oh, you know, I want this T-shirt to be like this or this hairstyle or this character. You know, I seen this character. I guess you won't be able to use any character you want from films and stuff because I guess they might be copyrighted in some way.
Well, I envision it eventually. Anything that could have value derived from it is going to. So, my Pepe example is a perfect one. I think that
Yes.
someday, if Decentraland gets big enough, the owner of the intellectual property rights is going to have avatars for that in it, and then you'll see Pokemon avatars or
And you'll be
Star
able
Wars
to rent
avatars.
them or own them and use
I,
them.
I think probably the avatars themselves will, in general, be quite cheap and available to most
Yeah,
people in the
yeah,
long run. It's just too easy to make the 3D models and have them implemented at scale into games. There
yes,
might be some that are, really finite in their supply and worth a lot more. But I think
yes,
for the most part, t- people are going to be able to look however they want and from whatever character of
yeah,
any type of intellectual property series or anything like that that they
yeah,
could think of.
yeah. Wow, that's gonna be fantastic. Yeah, almost like the film Ready Player One. Yeah,
Hmm.
and that's gonna be awesome when it gets to that level. Wow, that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So next steps for Decentraland, there's kind of rumors bubbling that the um, the PC application is going to launch
Okay.
um, in at the same time as potentially a VR application to be used on Oculus, as
Yeah.
well as a phone application that can be run on Android or iOS. So, um,
Wow, they are busy then.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And there's lots of creators in the economy all chatting about how we bring kind of the next wave in. And I
Yeah.
think maybe crypto adoption and the lull in the market has put a damper on excitement around
Yeah.
Decentraland and other metaverses for the time being. But if you believe what we believe in the direction of things, I think it's a matter of time before it
Absolutely. I
picks
mean,
back up
everything's
again.
down at the moment, but you know, it goes in. It's cyclic. It goes in peaks and troughs, and you know, the money just disappeared at the moment, and we just gotta, you know, hold it out and wait until it comes back in again, and it will because you know, you can't get away from this kind of technology. You know, it is the way that evolution of mankind and our interaction with machine and software is going. Is inevitable, really.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes, and you're way ahead of the curve. So you've got your land already.
Well, I hope so. I'm not certain that land will hold value in the long term. I
Yes,
am
yes, it's
having
very
faith,
speculative,
and
isn't it?
it is speculative. It's a big risk. It's like it's kind of my purpose, like it's my passion. Like I really like doing this, and this has enabled me to do it in an area where I can actually compete because if I went into traditional gaming and I tried to create my own game, starting from scratch at 33 years old, being in insurance for my whole life, I'm not going to be able to do anything. Like I'm just
Absolutely.
learning 3D modeling over the past year, and my coding experience from the past in the web space, not necessarily in gaming, has helped me be able to develop into Decentraland. But I can't compete with a big budget studio.
Yes.
Luckily, they haven't really jumped into this yet. It's all
Yes.
been kind of other brands: Forever 21, Samsung, JP Morgan.
Yeah.
You haven't seen a Blizzard, Activision, or somebody like that jumping into a metaverse to create an experience, because at that point it could be game over for a lot of the solo creators.
Do you think they might make their own as well?
I think they can make their own, but I just can't see them letting go of control of the digital assets.
Yes.
So is that truly a metaverse then, if you can't extract it as an NFT and take control of it through your private keys?
Yeah.
That's where I think it's going to be a problem. Like Steam has banned NFT games.
Yeah,
Steam and for those that don't know, Steam is one of the biggest gaming platforms where you can play all sorts of games out of. And they've said any games that integrate NFTs, you're not coming on our platform.
Interesting.
And a lot of that is
it's going to be a bad move in the end, I think, for them making that decision.
I think it is too. And maybe it's not in the long run. Maybe once regulations are in place, they'll be more willing to do it. The problem, I think, not only negative feedback from the community, but NFTs are a very easy way of money laundering. Like it's very easy to money launder with NFTs. Like a piece of valuable art, you can buy it for a ton of money, you can sell it at a loss, and then have the tax write-off. Well, with NFTs, you can sell it at a loss to yourself in another account, and they don't even know it's yours.
Yes.
So you could say, oh, I accidentally sold my $100,000 NFT for $5 because I thought it was, I thought it said some other form of currency, but it said this, and now I lost it. But you actually own the other account too.
Yes.
And now, so I think that is where a lot of the hesitation stems from a platform like Steam.
Yeah. But again, the whole crypto, NFT, metaverse thing, it's so new that we are we're essentially, as a community, we're making the rules up as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good, but at the same time we have to understand that it is a bit like the Wild West out there at the moment.
It is. And I feel like maybe whatever happens in the United States with the national regulations there might not affect other areas of the world as much, although a large amount of the wealth is contained in that region and by everybody that's living in the country. So I think whatever regulations come in play in the United States is definitely going to have a massive effect on the crypto markets.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, we've been going over an hour now. It's been great chatting to you on this. Just before we finish up, and maybe we could have some more chats like this. I'd like to maybe do this on a regular basis every few months or so. See what the developments are. Have a chat about what's happening in the whole metaverse universe. If you're happy to do that kind of thing.
Absolutely, yeah, that sounds great.
But to go with the video as well. I'm gonna see if you don't mind if I can share this with the crypto viewing guys and share this with the larger community out there. And I'll give you a copy and you can do the same if you want. But it'd be great if I can get some of your details to go with this as well. I don't know if you have like addresses or how it works for your Decentraland space for people to find you there, or where you'd like people to find you. But if you give me a bit of that kind of info that I could put with the video, if that would be awesome as well.
Sure, I'll absolutely share that. A lot of the crypto space is just involving themselves on Twitter, and I'm at Pepe God, like PEPEGAWD, Pepe God on Twitter. But just with my recent run-ins with intellectual property revolving around the old Pepe meme, I might have to go with a different direction of things. So I'll definitely share some contact details with you that we can share with the subscribers.
And I'll stick them all in the description that we do and stuff. Yeah. But it's been great chatting with you and experiencing this. And thanks for reaching out, on this. It's been actually really educational for me. Real fun.
Yeah, definitely. No problem. Thank you, Daz. Thanks for taking the time to chat. I'll leave everybody with a comment that I have about the metaverse and cryptos in general. I think a lot of people view blockchain as financial freedom for the future, and others, or maybe even the same people that view it that way, can see that it is humanity's next form of an imprisonment, because you can really see how every aspect of somebody's life can be tracked. And I see that too. Like, it's not like I think it's all sunshine and rainbows and the metaverse is where we all need to live. Like, I recognize that this is potentially the next imprisonment of mankind. Like, I definitely see that. So I'm not just missing that point completely.
Sure.
But I can't help it. I can't help what I find enjoyment in. And
yeah.
so
hard.
the gaming, yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? Because I see what you're talking about. I see both those, but I see, being a creative person, I just see the huge scope of creativity that could be out there for us, if we don't allow people to abuse it. And there would always be someone that wants to abuse that kind of scope and capability, but I'm just hoping that the creativity behind people will hopefully keep that in check. Who knows with this, I guess.
Yeah. And that's why I'm a big proponent of those open metaverses like Decentraland, that's run by a DAO and kind of community driven rather than a centralized entity owning and controlling everything.
Yeah.
That's at least the better side of things for me to pursue. So that's why I'm liking it. And I'll also show you before you go, Daz. I got an awesome shirt here. Does it blur it out? Oh no.
Yeah.
It's an Area 51 Dreamland shirt.
I see that, yeah.
I visited Rachel, Nevada in
wow, fantastic.
in February of this year, and it was just a really cool experience. They definitely don't want you coming to the gates of Area 51 there, but I did it, and the big alarms went off, and I scattered, and anyways, it was a really cool experience.
You went close then, yeah.
Yeah. We were told from the people in the town, definitely don't cross the line, and we didn't do that. But just even when you get close, there's like this vibration in the air that's just like, it sends you in a panic, like you can't even think straight. So we were out of there fast, but it was a cool experience to go down there and drive.
Yeah, it's definitely one on your bucket list, isn't it? The things you have to do. If I ever get to Vegas, I'm going out there for the day just to experience it. Absolutely.
Yeah. We stayed at the Little Alien.
Yes,
that's the name of the hotel there.
Yeah. I've been seeing people go there and reading about that. Oh, it's got to be going back to '94, I think. I heard about that.
Yeah, and I think it's the granddaughter potentially running it now, or she's being involved with running it. Even the grandmother that started it, I think she's still around. But
that's excellent. Yeah, fantastic.
Cool.
Great experience. Thanks for sharing all this with us. We'll end it there today. As I said, I'll send you. We'll speak after this. If you send me all your details, I'll send you the Zoom link to this, and you can put it up and do what you want with it as well. And I'm going to give it to the Crypto Viewing guys. I think it'd be a great educational video for anyone within Crypto Viewing who wants to know about the metaverse and Decentraland. It's fantastic.
Great. Thanks, Daz.
Yeah, and thanks for taking the time, mate.
No problem. Chat soon.
Yeah, we'll definitely do this again as well.
Perfect.
Have a good day then. You take care.
Bye now.
Bye.